A very warm welcome to all of you. In this lecture, we will be talking about structural classification of muscles. Diaphragm. It is a dome-shaped muscular fiber sheet which separates the thoracic from abdominal cavity. Upper aspect is convex and lower is concave one. The muscular fibers may be grouped into three parts: sterna, costal and lumbar. The curae are tedious in structure at their attachments. The right crus is broader and longer than the left one. The diaphragm is for passage of structures between the thorax and abdomen. Three large openings: the aortic, the esophageal and the vena cava. There are some smaller openings also. The diaphragm is supplied with motor fibers by parotid nerves. The lower 6 or 7 intercostal nerves distribute sensory fibers to the peripheral part of the muscle. Superficial fascia of abdomen. Most of abdomen consists of a single layer containing a variable amount of fat, but in obese people, lower part consists of many layers. Superficial fascia is divisible into two layers, between which are superficial vessels, nerves and superficial lymph nodes. Superficial layer is thick, areolus in texture and contains meshes. Below it passes a superficial fascia of thigh. Deep layer is more membranous than superficial and contains elastic fibers. Oblique externus abdominis. It is the largest and most superficial of the three flat muscles of region. It arises from external surfaces and inferior borders of lower 8 ribs as 8 fleshy slips. These are arranged in oblique lines extending downwards and backwards. Aponeurosis of external oblique is a strong, tedious sheet directing downwards. Nerve supply is from lower 6 thoracic spinal nerves. Oblique internus abdominis. It is less bulky and thinner. It arises by muscular fibers from upper surface of inegual ligament, from ventral segment of crest and thoracic lumbar fascia. The anterior layer blend with the aponeurosis of transversus abdomens. Nerve supply is by ventral rim of lower 6 thoracic and first lumbar spinal nerve. Cremaster. It consists of a number of loosely arranged muscle fascicule lying along spermatic cord. They are united by alveolar tissue to form the sac-like fascia around the cord and testis within external spermatic fascia. Nerve supply is from genital branch of genital femoral nerve, which is derived from first and second lumbar spinal nerves. Cremaster pulls up testis towards the superficial inguinal ring. Pyramidials. It is a triangular muscle in front of lower part of rectus abdominis and within its sheath. The muscle passes upwards, diminishing in size as it ascends and ends in a pointed extremity attached to linea alba. It is supplied by subcostal nerve. Function of it is to provide a firm but elastic wall to retain the abdominal viscera in position. Linea alba. It is a tedious rift between the xiphoid process and symphysis pubis. It is between the rectiformed by interplacements of fibers of aponeurosis of oblique and transverse. Transversalis fascia. It is a connective tissue stratum between internal surface of the transversus and extraperitoneal fat. It is a part of general layer and fascia between the peritoneum and abdominal wall. In inguinal region, it is thick and dense. Deep inguinal ring. It is situated in the transversalis fascia. It is in midway between the anterior superior iliac spine and pubis, about 1.25 centimeters above ligament. It is oval and long. Axis is vertical. It is larger in males. Inguinal canal. It contains spermatic cord or the round ligament of uterus and ilia inguinal. It is oblique and 4 centimeters long, going downwards and medially. It extends from deep to the superficial inguinal ring. Quadratus lumborum. It is an irregularly quadrilateral posterior muscle of abdomen. It is broad inferiorly. It is attached below by aponeurotic fibers. Anterior to quadrates lumbarum are colon, kidney and diaphragm. Nerve supply is from ventral rim of 12 thoracic and upper 3-4 lumbar spinal nerves. The quadratus lumborum fixes the last rib and acts as a muscle of inspiration. Levator ani. It is a broad, thin muscle attached to inner surface of true pelvis and unites with the opposite muscle to form the greater part of floor of pelvis. In front, it is attached to the pelvis surface of the body of pubis. Behind, to the medial surface of ischium. The muscle fibers pass towards the median plane with varying degrees of obliquity. Morphologically, it can be divided into pubococcygeus and iliococcygeus. Levator ani constricts the lower end of rectum and vagina and perineal body. Muscles of pelvic floor. Sphincter ani externus. It surrounds the lowest part of anal canal. Below it is adherent to skin. Above it overlap the sphincter ani internus. Bulbospongiosum. It is in the median line of perineum in front of anus. It arises from median tendinous rift. Its fiber diverges like two halves, which helps in emptying the urethra after the bladder has expelled its contents. Ischiocavernosus. It covers the crus penis. It is attached by tendinous and fleshy fibers to the inner surface of ischial tuberosity. The muscular fibers end in aponeurosis attached to crus penis. It compresses the crus penis and so plays a part in maintaining erection of the penis. Trapezius. It is a flat, triangular muscle extending over the back of neck and the upper thorax. The superior fibers proceed downwards and the inferior upwards and the middle horizontally. It is supplied by accessory nerve and by sensory branches from ventral rim, third and fourth cervical spinal nerve, acting with outer muscles attached to the scapula. The trapezius controls its position. Muscles of upper limb. Latissimus humerus dorsi. It is a large triangular flat muscle extended over lumbar region and lower half of thorax from spine of lower 6 thoracic vertebra interior to trapezius. Latissimus dorsi with teres major forms posterior fold of axilla. Nerve supply is from thoracodorsal nerve from posterior cord of branchial plexus C6, C7 and C8. This muscle is active in movements of adduction, extension and specially medial rotation of the humerus. It takes part in all violent expiratory movements. Pectoralis major. It is a thick triangular muscle arising from the interior surface of sternal half of clavicle and anterior surface of sternum. Clavicular fibers are separated by sternal fibers by a gap. Muscle is attached to humerus. The number of costal attachments varies. The rounded lower border of muscle forms the anterior axillary fold. Nerve part of pectoralis major may act together or separately in adduction and medial rotation of the humerus. Levator Scapulae. It is attached to the transverse process of the atlas and axis and to the third and fourth cervical vertebrae. It descends diagonally to be attached to the medial border of scapulae. It is supplied by third and fourth cervical nerves. It descends diagonally to be attached to the medial border or scapula. It is supplied directly by third and fourth cervical nerve and from fifth cervical through dorsal scapula